we're actually not here. So let's start that over again. All right. Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymart, and this is Growing Older Gay's Kitchen Table, episode 42 for January 18th, 2026. Today we're talking about making a hard-won life count, managing the forces of ageism, a sexy James Franco TV miniseries. Oh my God, I love James Franco. And some contest results from the leather world and upcoming LGBTQ plus events. That's the quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. And this episode is recorded well in advance because my husband and I are actually in Los Angeles and or Palm Springs this weekend. So if anything happened in the world from Wednesday the 14th, it's not going to be talked about today because we're just going to have to pick it up next week. If the world ends or if some terrible thing happens and there's topical information that should be discussed, I apologize. We are probably down south having fun somewhere and shopping for leather. And if you happen to run into us, please say hi. We don't bite unless you want us to. That said, we always start our episode of Kitchen Table, which is about what goes on at my kitchen table every week and what's going on in the LGBTQ plus fishbowl around me. We always start our episode with a daily meme, which is from our social media. And every day, a daily inspiration is posted. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's serious, other times it's sexy. But today's is, well, a little bit more serious, but not morose. It simply goes like this. There is a cost in honoring yourself. Make it count. What this is coming from is the basic premise that most of us in the LGBTQ plus community have paid a very high price to be where we are today. We have gone through people making fun of us, people judging us, people disowning us in some cases with family or friends. We've paid a high price in many ways. Sometimes it's been lost job opportunities. Sometimes it's been financial losses. There's just a number of different things that each one of us have had to go through in our lives. And if we've managed to achieve a level of peace and self-love through all of that, why not make it worth it? Why not pedal to the metal, one life to live? Why not completely leverage the fact that you've gone through hell to be where you are and make it worth the trouble? And so I've got a few bullet points just to go through this on our meme to sort of drill down on what this actually means. Live the life you've always wanted. What is stopping you? Have you ever thought about the life you always wanted? Have you let yourself become a victim of other people's choices and other people's designs for your life to a point that you're just not where you want to be, doing what you want to be and who you want to be? With the price we've paid to become who we are in terms of our sexuality and our identity, why not go one step further and not be afraid to wrinkle some feathers maybe with some of the people around us if we have a life's dream that we want to fulfill that maybe they just don't get or don't agree with? If you have things that you think are truly in the way of it, take inventory of those and really look at those things strongly to see. You might not be able to get rid of all of those impediments, but you might be able to knock down one or two and just start taking baby steps into living the life you want. Be the person you want. The next thing is explore your world, yourself, your people. Challenge yourself. Challenge your box. We have the ability to go out and learn new things, meet new people, travel. Most people that are in the LGBTQ plus community don't have kids. Maybe they're single. We tend to have more money to do things. Use it. Use it. Invest in your life. And that is the next thing. Invest in yourself, your education, your health, your spirituality, and of course your finances. Save money and give yourself stability, but explore. Use that money to really make your life rich. And I don't mean with possessions. I mean with experiences. Do that traveling. Take that educational journey. Do things. Do things. Live your life like you've always wanted. Many of us in the LGBTQ plus community have sought out chosen family. And that means people who identify with who we are. They're probably in our community as well. They get us. They understand us. We're on the same wavelength. In most cases, we're on the same political wavelength. It's pretty easy to thrive in that environment. But there's many of us who live in places where we don't have other people to identify around us. And that might be something that you change, because If you are stifled living out in some part of the country where nobody gets you, nobody understands you, get out. Get out. You only live once. Go somewhere where people will love you, understand you, they'll get you, and you can have a support system around you that you don't have to defend yourself to. There's a cost to honoring yourself. And sometimes it's giving up things that don't serve us anymore. So moving on, ageism. I've heard the word before, and I'm bringing it up today because last week I sat down and did a over hour-long interview with Billy Foster on gayphx.com on their season 2, episode 2 of their weekly podcast. Billy Foster is a guy who is a career talk show host from the radio days. He's extremely good at doing interviews, and every week on the podcast, he interviews people that are local voices here in Phoenix, whether they are part of an organization, whether they're a business owner, maybe they're a contestant for a local contest, maybe they're an actor. If you want to get to know me better, have a listen to the podcast, episode 2, season 2, gayphx.com. But in the conversation, he asked me a question, and I was dumbfounded at first because I didn't know how to answer it. He said, essentially paraphrasing him, he said, well, how do you deal with ageism? I didn't really know what the hell to say because it didn't occur to me that I was dealing with ageism. And I had to sort of stumble for a second and start coming up with some conversation around that. And my first go-to was talking about going out in the world, the hookup apps, going out to the bars, the clubs, getting attention, that kind of thing. I really talked about the fact that I haven't really felt like I've been a victim of ageism. And if it's happening, I'm unaware of it. And a lot of that's just because of my attitude. I don't feel like I'm entitled to anything when I go out in the world. I'm a person that's happy and for the most part at peace within my own skin. I don't feel like I need to get validation from the world. So if I don't get it, I don't necessarily know it's missing. So what is it? What is ageism? Well, it's defined as the process of systematic stereotyping and discrimination against people because of their age, mostly for older people. I get it. I'm not saying that I'm completely oblivious to what ageism is and whether it's happening to me or not, or whether it's happening to other people in my community. What I have heard other people say is that when they were young and gay and beautiful, they used to get all kinds of attention. And now they don't. They're invisible. When you become old and gay, you become invisible. And yeah, that's true. I see a lot of people when I go out to men's clubs or when I go out to maybe the bar and there's an event. I see a lot of older guys that are kind of sitting back in the shadows and they're not part of where the action is in terms of the social interaction. They're in the background or maybe they're not even seen. And that is, yes, sometimes because of age, but it's not always because of age. There are young people that are wallflowers and back in the shadows, not being part of that center of the action and where everything's happening. And so ageism can affect us in a number of ways. The first one that I went to in the podcast was dating, the hookup scene, sex. And yeah, the older we get, we become more invisible. I have profiles on some of the hookup apps. I go to some of the men's clubs occasionally. And what I find is that I tend to walk out of those places or finish with the app getting essentially what I expected to get there. And my age is on display in the apps. I don't hide that. I show myself. I don't hide that. While I don't necessarily find myself as busy on the apps as I used to be maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, I still have plenty of opportunity there. I don't feel like the apps are shortchanging me of opportunity. There are a lot of people my age or older or even younger than me that feel that way though. They believe that nobody talks to them anymore. Nobody does that anymore. But I also have in my app profiles that it says no drugs, I'm sober. And it talks about spirituality, and that chases tweakers away and people that want to smoke pot or that want to drink and party and have sex. That chases those people away pretty fast. So I don't have the hottest action on the apps anyway. So if I'm also being ignored because it says 56 on there, oh well, right? I'm fine with that But again, when I've gone to parties, when I've gone to any opportunity-laden event or location or venue, I have, for the most part, come away with my money's worth. It's because I engage with people. I am not setting my goal so high that it makes everything unattainable. I'm not saying that I lower standards. I'm just saying I get out there and I get in the thick of it and I put myself out there at the risk of being rejected. At the same time, when I see young guys, when I see young people out there in their 20s and early 30s that are clearly the rock stars, I'm not throwing myself in front of them and putting myself in a place that maybe I'm not welcome. I don't assume that I'm entitled. Because of that, I'm not throwing myself in front of the train, so to speak, every time I go out and do something. The other way a lot of us really see and feel the ageism is in the workplace. When it comes to maybe we lost a job and we need to go out and find a new one. The older we get, it does become tougher to get a leg in. That is a fact, but that's not just for the gay community. That's for everybody. The older we get, the less marketable we become for a lot of career paths. That's just a fact. It's always been the case. It always will be. The thing is we try to make ourselves more marketable where we can. I found myself coming off of being self-employed for 20 plus years at the mid 50s, not very long ago, just a few years ago. I found myself in that position. And what I found having to do, not having really any relevant career experience from my previous career lives, I really couldn't dive back into those six-figure jobs. I just couldn't do it, not 20 years after having been self-employed, doing something else entirely, media. Nobody cares about that. I'm an experienced journalist. Nobody cares. Not marketable. Don't go get a degree in journalism. You're never going to pay that back unless you're a rock star. What you need to do is just keep trying, try hard, and be willing to take what you can get. That's just the reality of it. But what I did when I found myself re-entered the job market is I found a job that met my basic needs, and I basically did it better than everybody else. And believe me, in today's world full of young people, all you have to do to really shine at most jobs and in most workplaces, show up every day on time, do what they ask, do it well, don't complain, and that puts you at the top of the heap in most cases. What I also did was invest in some education that raised the bar for what I can do. And I got into the pharmaceutical field by going to some classes, some evening classes, things like that. Now I work in a pharmacy setting, which is a new career path for me. It was something that I had to do because I used to be an architect. An architect's not going to be real happy to see some old guy coming in that hasn't done architecture for 20 years. And I've done marketing. I've done all sorts of other pretty good careers that I just decided to get out of because I got bored with them. I could have gone back into that, but I probably wouldn't be making any more money than I am today in the pharmacy field because I wouldn't be starting where I used to be. And that's just something that we as aging people, gay or not, have to be in acceptance of. This is one of the pills that we have to swallow with getting old. And I'm really going long on this. Ageism is also part of the social experience. So when we go out to clubs, or maybe we join a club, we go to an organization that we want to volunteer with and be a part of in the way of events. I do that. I am the old guy in the room when I go to Ripple Phoenix, who is a local outreach organization that deals with HIV and PrEP and DoxyPEP and HIV testing. We do a lot of events. We have a big crew of people who are some rock stars in our community, a lot of young people, gay, lesbian, trans, beautiful young people who are leaders in their respective areas of entertainment and influencing. When I go to our monthly events where we all get together and have dinner and our meetings, I'm the oldest person there just about. And I definitely feel that, you've got the cliques of younger people that are doing their thing together and they talk about things and they don't really come over, hey, Sam, come over here, old guy, and let's include you in this conversation. That is ageism. It's not conscious. It's not deliberate. It's just how it is. And I have come to accept the fact that I am the older guy. But the good news is that I'm nice and I have plenty of friends there, and I've been able to engage. It doesn't mean you can't engage with people just because they're younger. And I found that sometimes ageism has a positive effect. It means you tend to be more respected if you are respectful of others, and people will come to you for advice. And I do get that. People will call me sir when they open the door for me. Come on in, sir. I kind of like that, if I'm honest, right? So in the social arena, there are opportunities that we are not going to be offered. There are probably groups of younger people that are not going to invite us in to be part of their clique. Even when we were young, there were cliques that wouldn't invite you in. So get over it. We're getting older. Find some other people closer to your age who are also waiting to be invited in, and invite them in. Make a clique of your own. That's really what we have to do. That's why Sun City is so darn successful, because they all get together and they have their clubs. I'm having fun with this, can you tell? Setting expectations, acceptance, and self-sorting. And this really sort of tags on to the end of what I was just talking about. There is ageism out there. And we're not going to change it. We are not going to make it go away. We may not knock it down and become victorious over it. But what we can do is become accepting of a certain level of it. We can understand that it's just part of the cycle of life. We can compensate. We can be more engaging. We cannot let it get us down. We can have acceptance of this is just where we are in life and embrace it. I am the older guy, and I smile and I enjoy watching younger people do what they do, and I don't get in their way. And if they invite me in to be a part of what it is, if I'm at the bathhouse and I'm walking down the hall and there's a 20-year-old guy walking towards me and he shows interest, I'm going to show interest back. And I'm not going to be bashful, because he can see what he's getting and he's clearly wanting that. And that is one silver lining in this cloud of getting older, is at least for the time being, daddies are in. Younger guys, there are a lot of younger guys out there like older guys. And the same goes for women. So ageism, I didn't have an answer for it, but after doing a little bit of research and thinking about it, I've got a few more answers. So Billy, if you're watching or if you're listening, there's a little bit more on that. Now, I've got to talk about TV. Part of getting older is that you're not always on top of the latest, greatest stuff. My husband and I found this new mini-series on Netflix. It's been on Hulu for a while. That's why I talk about getting older, because it's been out for almost 10 years. And we just discovered it. And that is 11/22/63. James Franco is one of the producers. He is the lead actor in it, and I'm just hot for James Franco. So I saw his picture in the thumbnail, and I'm like, we're watching that. It's an 8-episode miniseries based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. An English teacher goes back in time and tries to prevent the assassination of JFK. The miniseries twists and turns as he goes back in time and has to meet people. He has to spend 2 years there because he can only go back to 1960. And so he actually has to spend a little over almost 3 years there to get to know people and travel to the location and establish himself and try to meet all the players involved in the assassination. And he does. He rubs elbows and literally meets almost all the names we've always heard that were part of that, including Lee Harvey Oswald. There's trials and tribulations and events that happen. The past doesn't like to be screwed with, and it screws back. And there's forces out there, and it's a Stephen King film, so you'd expect some creepy shit goes on. And it's really well put together. It's entertaining, it's suspenseful, and because Stephen King's involved, there's a few Easter eggs there from some of the other Stephen King series. There's a character that drives up in the 1959 Plymouth Fury, a bright red one with a white stripe down the side. You might remember that from a Stephen King movie back way long ago. Christine. Yeah. I'm like, I've seen that car before. And that guy's creepy too. And he ends up getting killed, that character. I have only seen 7 out of the 8 episodes. So I'm not going to spoil it for you because I can't. Although I have seen that you can actually read up on what every single episode does and what happens. But if you're looking for something new and you haven't seen this and you're really hot for James Franco, I highly recommend checking this out. We have absolutely loved watching it, and it's good. And we're going to watch the episode probably the night before we leave to go down to Palm Springs. Now we've got to talk about leather season, because all of the big leather contests are coming up in rapid succession as we lead up to IML in May. And so my hope is to interview some of these guys that are going to be going to IML to compete. I don't have any of them with me today. Just last weekend in Los Angeles, Mr. Eagle Leather LA, the contest happened, and the winner was Wyatt Heath, handsome young buck. He is a bartender at the Bullet Bar in North Hollywood. I don't have a full bio on him to share with you, but this is what he posted on his Facebook page after having just won that title. I'm humbled to have the life I have today. Just over 2 years ago, I wasn't sure I'd make it through addiction, but today, all the hard work I put in, all the faith and love my parents and brother have had in me, and the love of so many men who refused to give up on me has paid off. I'm truly living a life that was promised me in so many different sobrieties, a life beyond my wildest dreams. So he's going to be going to IML to participate and to compete. And Mr. Atlantic Leather is going to be this very weekend this episode posts. And so by the time you watch this, that may have already been decided. Mr. LA Leather Bear also happening this weekend. So next week, we'll probably be talking about who won those contests. It's a fun time of year if you're into the leather scene. And when I start lining up guys to come talk, most of these are going to be sober guys. There are a lot of people in the leather community who do not do drugs or don't drink. It's actually more people than you would think. And one of the reasons why I love the leather community is it's a place that I can go and get involved in the events and be around the crowd and the chaos that is part of the big weekends and the week-long events, and have a tribe of people that I can get close with, that I'm safe with, as somebody who's avoiding drugs and alcohol. And there's a lot of the people that run these events are sober. They're not the drug-fueled party atmospheres that a lot of people think they are looking in from the outside. Moving on, let's talk about one of these events coming up. Austin Kink Weekend, April 16th through the 19th. Their website, austinkinkweekend.com. Austin, Texas, obviously. This is getting to be a pretty big event. And their title is Mr., Mrs., and Trans Texas Leather. They actually have 3 titles built into that. They have a number of other titles that are part of their entire program. Texas Boot Black, and quite a few more. It's a full weekend of workshops, vendors, special events, and parties. A lot of fun stuff going on down there. You can get the run passes on their website right now, and they have 2 different levels, $125 and $175, depending on how much of it that you want to do. And that includes shuttles from the headquarters hotel to the event venues. Holiday Inn Midtown Austin is their headquarters hotel, though you can stay just about anywhere. But if you want to be where the action is, the headquarters hotel is usually where you want to be, because you just do. Trust me on that. A big event. I have yet to be to it, but they send some pretty quality contestants out of there to IML. And hopefully we'll get to talk to some of those guys too. And then I have an event save the date here, because this one's a little bit further out. And if you want to go, you need to plan for it. And that is Vallarta Pride down in Mexico. La Nueva Era, un Pride muy Mexicano. Now, my pronunciation is terrible. I'm still learning Spanish, so I'm a white guy speaking Spanish. You can totally get it. This looks like a beautiful event. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful country. And I've seen Mexico City Pride and some of the other prides down in Latin America, and they look amazing. This one ought to be just as amazing. You can get the total rundown on the website, vallartapride.org. Check it out. They don't have a lot of information on their website just yet, so I don't have the full schedule to roll out to you, but this looks like a nice opportunity if you want to go to Mexico in May. As always, you can click on the events tab at our website, Growing Older Gay, for LGBTQ+ gatherings nationwide all year long. If you have an event that you'd like to see on our website or even featured here on the show, drop me an email, sam@growingoldergay.com. sam@growingoldergay.com. Very easy to remember. It's our website and my name, sam@growingoldergay.com. Send me an email. And if you want to have something else featured on our show, if you have a suggestion, if you have an idea for a segment, if you just know somebody that needs to be talked to and interviewed, send me a line, sam@growingoldergay.com. Did you get that? And the last thing I'll leave you with is I want to just really give thanks to Billy Foster and his husband over at gayphx.com. Not only did they bring me in and make me a part of their podcast this week. They have included this podcast on their radio program, and they have a 24/7 streaming radio station, gayphx.com. It's mostly about local Phoenix gay community, but there's music, there's news, there's entertainment, and a lot of different parts and pieces that can apply regionally or even nationally. And they've included our podcast in rotation 10 a.m. every Monday. So you can get a rebroadcast of this podcast there on their streaming radio station. I'm just very grateful that they've included us in there like that. Our website, growingoldergay.com. Check it out. See all the good stuff, our events calendar, as well as all of the stories, copies of this podcast, and other content that we create. Our social media, all the major 4 food groups, which are Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, because we don't do the X. X is bad for all the right reasons. No, it's actually bad for the wrong reasons. The podcast, which you're watching right now on YouTube or you're listening to right now, can be found on Spotify, Substack, Apple Podcasts, and if you're watching on YouTube, we will be expanding this out to more podcast platforms soon, as soon as I get to it. But for the time being, it's on the big ones. And if you are watching YouTube right now, you can see me. I'm wearing my leather vest from Rubio Leather. I love this vest and I get a lot of compliments on it. A lot of people ask me what I'm wearing. So if you are watching, this is a beautiful vest with some red graphics on it because I am flagging red. Yes. And then I've got Mr. S leather armbands also with red piping. Now, Mr. S is pretty much the Ford and Chevrolet of the leather product world. They make some great stuff. It's solid. They have a wide variety of products, and it's the go-to because not only do they have a pretty vast website full of products, Mr. S Leather out of San Francisco, you must go there. It's an experience. It is a destination, and you can try leather on. You can get fitted for things. You can buy it online when it comes to harnesses, armbands, vests, anything like that. But it's really better if you do it in person because you can put it on and see if you really like it because it costs money. If you spend $400 or $500 for some leather outfit items and then you get it online and it shows up and you're like, oh, this sucks. This isn't what I thought it would be. There's not always returning it, right? It's a hassle. So I always recommend seeing it in person, trying it on, see if you like it. And I did that with this vest, Rubio Leather out of New York. If Mr. S Leather is the Ford and Chevrolet of leather, Rubio is the Land Rover or Jaguar. Custom leather. He will custom make you just about anything. The quality and the workmanship and the design is just exquisite. And this is so comfortable. I was probably 15 pounds, maybe even 20 pounds lighter when I bought this, and it was tight then. And it has stretched really nicely with me as I've gotten a little thicker. And it still looks good. It doesn't look, I don't feel, nor do I look like a sausage that's ready to pop out of its casing when I wear this vest fully zipped up. And it's just quality. And every year when I go to IML and Rubio is there, he always looks at it and smiles and he recognizes his work because he should. It's good stuff. It costs a lot, but it's good stuff. And that's it for our show today. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can see our latest video right there. Better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel right down there. And if you're on the podcast, subscribe there. Give us a nice rating. Say nice things.